how do you get water in your taps? Well, water flows from underground reservoirs to your home through pipelines. See, these are the pipelines, and this is the underground water reservoir. So these pipelines conduct this underground water upwards, and that is how you get the water in your home. Similarly, trees have such pipe-like structures in them. See? And these pipe-like structures conduct water from the root to the leaves, so that the leaves can utilize this water in manufacturing food by the process of photosynthesis. See, the water is getting conducted upwards to the leaf, and this leaf is manufacturing food by the process of photosynthesis. So this pipeline is the water pipeline and is known as the xylem. So now let us focus on this water pipeline and zoom it under the microscope. This is what you see. This is the longitudinal section of the xylem. You can see different kinds of cells. See? Notice this cell. This cell has very thick cell walls and a very narrow passage in the middle. Now notice the very next cell. This cell has relatively thick cell walls but a broader passage in between. Now see, there is a third kind of cell present. This cell has thin walls and there is a lot of space within the cell. That is, these cells have a lot of intracellular space. So this cell that had very thickened cell walls are known as tracheids. The next cell, which had relatively thick cell walls but a broader passage, is known as the trachea. And this cell, which has thin cell wall, is known as xylem parenchyma. Now the tracheids and the trachea together form the tracheary element in the plant. So this is the tracheid and this is the trachea. Now see, both these structures help the plant in conducting water from the roots upwards to the leaf. Both of them are pipe-like structures and two cells are connected. See, this is one cell, this is another cell, they are connected, forming a continuous pipe-like structure that can conduct water from the root upwards to the leaf. They have thick cell walls due to depositions of lignin. See, this cell has thickened cell walls, and the next cell or the trachea also have thick cell walls. And this thickening is caused by the substance known as lignin. Now notice one thing. Because the cell walls are thickened due to lignin, the space within the cell has become narrower. This indicates the lack of the cellular organelles. If there are no cellular organelles, then the functions that the cellular organelles perform won't take place, and that indicates dead cells. So the tracheids and the trachea, both of them are dead cells. So we've learned about the similarity of the trachea and the tracheids. But are they exactly similar? Let us see. See, the trachea, they have lesser deposition of lignin on their cell walls compared to the greater deposition of lignin on the cell walls of the tracheids. See, they are thicker cell walls because of greater deposition of lignin in the tracheids. And this lignin deposition is very irregular in nature, and that causes the various formation of patterns on the cell wall. Since the trachea have a lesser amount of lignin on their cell walls, they are wider, they have a bigger diameter compared to the tracheids which have a very thin diameter. See, the diameter is very thin in the tracheids. Now, notice another thing, that since the trachea have a broader passageway, they can easily conduct water from the root upwards to the leaf. But the tracheids, you've seen that they have a very narrow passageway because of the deposition of a greater amount of lignin on their cell walls. So the passage becomes very narrow, so they cannot conduct a lot of water from the root to the leaves. Though they conduct water, their main function is to provide mechanical support in the plant. So since tracheids, they have highly lignified walls, they provide mechanical support in the plant. Now let us come to the third kind of cells that are present in the xylem. See, this cell is known as the xylem parenchyma. Like all parenchyma cells, xylem parenchyma is also living. Now, if a cell is living, that indicates the presence of all the cellular organelles and also the cell membrane. So, you've studied earlier that the cell membrane is selectively permeable. It selectively allows water molecules to pass through. So, the xylem parenchyma allows a small amount of water transport. And since these cells are living cells, they have vacuoles as well. Each parenchyma cell contains a single vacuole that occupies a maximum space in the middle, and these vacuoles can store food. So the xylem parenchyma can store food as well. Now, all living cells die at a certain point of time. So xylem parenchyma, being a living cell, will also die. So when xylem parenchyma dies, they form the tracheary elements. That is, the tracheids and the trachea. So, why does a water-like fluid ooze out when a stem is cut from the middle? See, the stem is cut and a water-like fluid is oozing out. Well, this is because xylem forms the water-conducting pipe in the plant. It conducts water from the root upwards to the leaves. So when the stem is cut, the water flow is broken, and that is why the water oozes out.